I be free? When I shall cease to be? No more I between in perfect harmony. When shall I be free? When I shall cease to be? No more I between in perfect harmony. When shall I be free? When I shall cease to be? No more I between in perfect harmony. When shall I be free? When I shall cease to be? No more I between in perfect harmony.
Midtown Manhattan, from Bear Mountain, New Jersey, 60 miles upstate. Where is the curvature? Where? No curvature. The buildings aren't curved over. Empire State Building is straight up, straight on the flat earth. Where is the curvature? Where? No curvature.
If we use our brains for 1 minute, we know that a million kinds of eyes and brains and reproductive systems and all the foods and roots and flowers, etc., etc., could never form out of an explosion of matter. We know it. And when we use our brains for 1 minute, we know that the Earth cannot be traveling through space at 30 times the speed of a rifle bullet. We know it. When we use our brains for 1 minute, we know that mankind has been deceived by false science using crazy mathematics into denying the creation of God. Today, contrary to the public knowledge, heliocentrism is still based entirely on assumptions. It must be assumed that the sun is stationary. It must be assumed that the earth is spinning at 1,000 miles per hour. It must be assumed that the earth is orbiting the sun annually at a speed of 67,000 miles per hour. It must be assumed that the earth is tilted on an axis of 23.5 degrees. It must be assumed that the earth's atmosphere is also rotating at 1,000 miles per hour, keeping birds, clouds, jets, and low-orbit satellites in perfect synchronization. It must be assumed that the stars do not move around the earth, as they have been observed to do by everyone who has ever lived in all of history. It must be assumed that the reason the Earth's diametric orbit of 300 million kilometers does not produce any noticeable stellar parallax is because the stars are too many trillions of miles away. If just one of these assumptions are false, then the entire heliocentric model falls apart, and not one of them has ever been proven. Nobody has ever proven that the Earth is spinning. Nobody has ever used verifiable facts to prove any of these things. In today's culture, from the moment children are old enough to absorb information, they are inundated with imagery of heliocentrism and the solar system. From infancy, we are made to absorb the idea that heliocentrism is as self-evident as the Pacific Ocean. We are raised up into science fiction Star Trek worlds where galaxies are infinite and there is no center to any of it. We are continually reinforced with the idea that Earth is just another planet out of trillions, hurtling meaninglessly through outer space. By the time we are adults, this idea has been so thoroughly hammered into our brains that to even hint that we may stand on a motionless Earth is considered absolutely insane. There's a geocentric model that has been working just as well since the 16th century. Nobody is told that the use of a heliocentric model has been based on philosophical assertions that Earth could not possibly be the center of the universe. However, it is readily admitted by modern-day astronomers that there is no real difference between a helio and geocentric model. Here's the bottom line with Copernicism, or heliocentrism. It has nothing but flaws. Like evolutionism, there is not one true thing about it. Every claim that it makes rests on an assumption that violates an observable fact. No one has ever observed the Earth moving. No one. No test or space shot or anything else has ever shown it to move. None of them. We believe the Earth moves because there has been over 400 years of satanically motivated, increasingly sophisticated indoctrination coming forth from the science establishment telling us that it moves. No one has ever seen or felt the Earth moving at any speed. No one has ever seen the sun do anything but rise, go westward across the sky, and set. No one has ever seen the moon go eastward as it must in the Copernican system. It always rises in the east like the sun, goes westward, and sets in the west. We believe otherwise because we've been taught otherwise, just like people throughout history have believed all kinds of deceptions and called them truths.
we only can fly in Earth orbit. That's the farthest that we can go. And this new system that we're building is going to allow us to go beyond and hopefully take humans into the solar system to explore. So the moon, Mars, asteroids, there's a lot of destinations that we could go to. So the moon, Mars, asteroids, there's a lot of destinations that we could go to. We only can fly in Earth orbit. That's the farthest that we can go. And this new system that we're building is going to allow us to go beyond and hopefully take humans into the solar system to explore. So the moon, Mars, asteroids, there's a lot of destinations that we could go to.
Comes after the International Space Station, once its mission is over, how do we ensure the presence of humans in space?
Well, that's a great question. The plan that NASA has is to build a rocket called SLS, which is a heavy lift rocket. It's something that is much bigger than what we have today, and it will be able to launch the Orion capsule with humans on board, as well as landers or other components to destinations beyond Earth orbit. Right now, we only can fly in Earth orbit. That's the farthest that we can go. And this new system that we're building is going to allow us to go beyond and hopefully take humans into the solar system to explore. So the moon, Mars, asteroids, there's a lot of destinations that we could go to. We only can fly in Earth orbit. That's the farthest that we can go. And this new system that we're building is going to allow us to go beyond and hopefully take humans into the solar system to explore. So the moon, Mars, asteroids, there's a lot of destinations that we could go to, and we're building these building block components in order to allow us to do that eventually.
Orion is getting ready to launch. My name is Kelly Smith, and I work on navigation and guidance for Orion. Orion is NASA's next-generation spacecraft. Built with versatility in mind, it can take astronauts deeper into space than we've ever gone before, to an asteroid or even onto Mars. For these missions, Orion has to be one tough spacecraft, withstanding high speeds, searing temperatures, and extreme radiation. Before we can send astronauts into space on Orion, we have to test all of its systems. And there's only one way to know if we got it right. No astronauts will be aboard. The spacecraft is loaded with sensors to record and measure all aspects of the flight in every detail. It all begins with launch, aboard a Delta IV Heavy. As the spacecraft and the upper stage begin their first lap around Earth, Mission Control in Houston is monitoring the progress of the flight. Orion's over 100 miles up and going about 17,000 miles per hour. Just as it passes over the Indian Ocean, we lose communication.
Sunshine. It's actually called a halo, or in this case, a sun halo. This picture was sent into the WMUR.com local section of our website from the Moore Dam in Littleton a few years ago. And you can actually make out some high clouds in between the sunshine and where this halo is. And that's what plays really a key role in what creates this halo. So what's happening is we're getting some light coming from, of course, the sunshine. And as that interacts with these high clouds, cirrostratus clouds, which are essentially ice crystals, as the light comes into contact with those ice crystals, it bends the light and eventually will create this halo, or the 360-degree circle around the sunshine. It can also happen at night too, but you need that certain type of cloud cover, again, the high clouds that contain ice crystals, that will make this big circle around either the sun or the moon. So now you know exactly what's been happening when you see that circle or halo around the sun or the moon.
You're listening to Canary Cry Radio.
Has it not been told you from the beginning? Have you not understood since the earth was founded? He sits enthroned above the circle of the earth, and its people are like grasshoppers. He stretches out the heavens like a canopy and spreads them out like a tent to live in.
Those who maintain that the Earth is a globe that spins suggest that people standing at the equator are being whirled around at approximately 1,000 miles an hour. They further maintain that the Earth is spinning around the Sun at a speed of 67,000 miles per hour, and that our Sun is supposedly racing around the center of our galaxy at some 600,000 miles per hour. And yet, you and I both know that on many days it's possible to stand outside without a single hair being messed up by the breeze.
We don't have time for a meeting of the Flat Earth Society.
We used to call the word world, not globe. I saw that like in the past 30 years how we went slowly. Maybe you're too young, but let me tell you. I saw them slowly go from people all over the world. Many world leaders from all over the world got together. This is a worldly phenomenon. This is the world. I saw them go from the word world slowly, inch by inch, just inserting it every once in a while. So now it's just always the word globe. You notice that? It's not worldwide distribution, it's global distribution. It's global leaders. People all over the world, across the world, to people around the globe.
We're now showing you a view of the Earth through the telephoto lens. Okay, we're not receiving a picture right now. How about now? Okay, we don't have a picture yet. You see anything at all, Houston? Okay, Paul, wait, we don't have a picture yet. Alright, we'll put the other lens back on and we'll show you up. Oh, wait, we have a picture now. Okay, it's coming in as a real bright blob on the screen. It's hard to tell what we're looking at. Well, you're looking through some haze on the window, too, unfortunately. And the Earth is very bright behind.
Hey, what's up guys, this is Gons here for the Face Like the Sun YouTube channel. I just published Canary Cry Radio episode number 89, Flat Earth with Mark Sargent, and I wanted to just riff on some of the things that have come up since the conversation and just looking into the topic in general. A lot of people have pointed out that Mark is a disinfo agent, and it's possible. I'm not going to say that it's not. I'm not going to defend him in terms of him not being a disinfo agent, but I will say that he's a really nice guy, and I usually hope and expect the best in people. Maybe that's a fault of mine, but I'm not automatically suspicious of people just because other people say that he's a shill. So, but I will say that the one person that I would have loved to actually have on the show to talk about Flat Earth, and this may happen in the future, is Matt Boylan of the NASA channel on YouTube. He's actually been talking about the flat earth for a long time, and he's been on YouTube since April of 2011, and he published videos of him just, talking about the flat earth more than 2 years ago. I mean, ever since probably the beginning. So he's a guy that I would love to have a conversation with. And if you don't know who Matt Boylan is, he is a NASA whistleblower. He discovered in 2002 an image of the Earth from space that was obviously hoaxed. He was actually, according to him, hired by NASA for his talents of being a realist artist. And if you look at some of his paintings and his art, it's pretty remarkable. It's pretty amazing. But again, he's a guy that's been talking about the flat earth for a long time. So definitely check out some of his videos. He's a little eccentric and stuff, but I think that adds to the whole mystery of it all. But his recent videos are what's very compelling. He has This Crazy Notion, The Flat Earth Revolution, and then This Crazy Notion Part 2. He posted this just over a week ago, and he explains why he thinks guys like Mark Sargent is possibly a shill, and other guys that are talking about the flat earth and coming out with different models recently. And he basically gets into this idea that while the earth is flat, and while we are enclosed in ice like the Antarctic, he believes that on the other side of the ice there is another pocket of land, another pocket of land mass, and he calls it Atlantis, or he just says whatever you want to call it. But it's a very compelling argument, and I don't even know how he came to this idea, but the part that's interesting to me is that he points out how all of the flat Earth models that are enclosed are part of the New World Order deception, because what the New World Order wants to do is basically either go underground or fly to Mars, which he thinks, it's not really Mars, it's actually flying to this other landmass that exists, while keeping everybody on Earth in this dome enclosed as sort of a jail cell. And so he explains it, in his video, and you can check it out. But basically what it comes down to is that from his perspective, the elite know that there is this other landmass, and they are trying to keep it from everybody else. And thus the disinfo agents of people like Mark and others who promote a dome structure or an enclosed world model. And it's possible. I don't really know what to think of it all. It's all sort of nutty. But there are some Bible passages that are interesting to say the least. The one I quote in the episode with Mark Sargent is Isaiah 40, verses 21 through 23. And the main line to look at here is, "It is he who sits above the circle of the earth, and its inhabitants are like grasshoppers, who stretches out the heavens like a curtain and spreads them like a tent to dwell in," which is sort of this idea of an enclosed world model. There are other passages, Proverbs 8:27, "I was there when he set the heavens in place, when he marked out the horizon on the face of the deep." You got 1 Chronicles 16:30, "He has fixed the earth firm, immovable." And that goes contrary to this spinning globe model flying through space thousands of miles per hour. Psalm 104, verse 5, "Thou didst fix the earth on its foundation, so that it never can be shaken." And again, speaking into the Math Boylan model, he believes that the ice sheet in all directions goes infinitely. And I don't know about infinity, but certainly this model is different because it's not enclosed. It's actually widespread. He actually believes there's air and a sky and everything else. So it's a little different, and it's compelling because these passages speak into both, I think. They don't refute either one. And something that Math Boylan points out that's interesting is that he says that a lot of the people that are the founders of modern science were Jesuits, and how the Jesuit conspiracy goes and the Illuminati and all that stuff. So just some food for thought. Now the other thing is that he wants to do an expedition, and what I found interesting during the conversation with Mark Sargent is that he sort of poo-pooed Math's desire to do a straight line expedition with, a big, huge team, the whole world watching, that kind of thing. But he explains it in his video, but Mark wants to do a boat expedition within the dome structure, so to speak, to prove that the earth is flat, whereas Math Boylan wants to take some sort of crazy train thing or something through the Antarctic, and if he is wrong, then he'll just come out the other side, and there you go. But if he's right, then he will end up in another landmass, this other pocket of land and ocean or whatever that's out there, and that's why he calls it Atlantis, because it's sort of the lost world or whatever. But he wants to do this thing where he has the whole world watching, the whole thing's documented. He leaves people every, 100, I can't remember if it was 100 miles or something, to put a stake in the ground and keep the line straight, perfectly straight line. He wants doubters, he wants scientists, he wants whoever to go on that expedition with him, and he wants it to be a revolution, this movement. And I'm not like a billionaire or a millionaire or anything, but I like that fervor. I think it's cool that he wants to do this, and if he's putting himself out there. If he's wrong, he's wrong. But, he's even saying people can place bets in Vegas and you can bet against him, is the earth flat or round? And, people can place bets on whether he's going to come out the other side of the Antarctic, right back into the ocean, or if he's going to find this other world, basically, this other enclosed pocket of land and ocean. And he believes that the elite know about this. And he believes that the whole leaving Earth is sort of a scam, and that the elite basically want to go to this new land and explore it, much like Columbus, going west. We didn't know the Americas existed until he went west. And so similar idea is that, and it's just compelling to think about. And biblically, there is support. And I know it's kind of nuts. There was a girl named Michelle that commented and said that she works with satellite communications for the Air Force. and she knows that the Earth is not flat. And so those are the kind of people that I want to talk to and just sort of learn more about what makes them believe that the Earth is a globe. And, you know, is it because the instrumentation and the measurements and just numbers and digital things that they're looking at on a screen, or has she actually, you know, seen a live feed from space or whatever looking down at the globe, which is something that I guess we don't have. We don't have a pure live feed of the Earth spinning, which we ought to at this point. But I don't know. It's hard. This one's kind of a doozy because, again, the numbers work, so to speak. The science that we've been taught since Copernicus and whatnot, the math works. But at the same time, a lot of these flat earthers, even Mark, you know, even if you think Mark is a disinfo agent, and some of you guys commented on why he's a disinfo agent, and actually it made me question the person commenting, even because the stuff that he claimed Mark believes is not what Mark shared with us. So unless he's not sharing the same thing, the person who commented was totally mischaracterizing Mark's views on stuff. So it's a really complex thing. I know it's a big trendy topic right now, the flat earth theory, and if it turns out to be true, definitely would be a huge conspiracy. And, you know, there could be a reason why there is a controlled opposition, or, you know, there's a potential for a controlled opposition right now being disseminated to keep the masses from fully knowing what's going on. And, but again, at the same time, the numbers work. There's so many people that work in different fields of science and different fields of technology and stuff like that, that would tell you that, you know, they're sure that the Earth is a sphere. So again, from my perspective here, sitting where I'm sitting, there's no way for me to verify that, you know, there's no way for me to go up into space and look down. So I'm sort of at the mercy of different people and their views, their opinions. And what's interesting is that according to those opinions and views of various people, it is compelling. And it does make you question how you know something, why you know it. And there may be nothing to it. They may be completely debunked. And I know there are debunkers out there, but again, they use the same sort of methodology that appeals to certain presuppositions. And that's really the key here. And I learned this from learning Christian apologetics, but identifying someone's presuppositions, we all have them. Nobody, it's the bias thing. Everybody comes at any given topic with presupposed notions. And based on those presuppositions, your conclusions of the evidence will be different, because even if the evidence itself, the facts and whatnot itself are the same, the way you understand them is different based on your presuppositions. So for example, if you believe that there is no God and, you know, there's no spiritual world, there's no metaphysical reality, then everything has to be answered in a materialistic sense. And you're trapped in that. You can't even entertain the possibility that there's something outside of the material world. But, you know, clearly we can philosophically prove that there is a metaphysical, supernatural, even just logically you can prove that. And I get into that. And actually, Chris Putnam's book, Supernatural Worldview, addresses that and does a very, very good job with it. So if you're one of those materialists out there, check out the Supernatural Worldview, because materialism is in trouble. But in terms of the material world itself, the Earth being flat, yes, no, maybe. For me, I am just going to keep it open. I'm not going to say one way or the other. There are Bible verses that seem to indicate that things are stationary. You know, there's different things with geocentricity. There's lots of different views concerning this, and I just haven't done enough study, even biblically, to really give you a hard answer on this. And this is one of those topics that I will continue to look at. And again, if we can get math boiling on Canary Cry Radio, we definitely will. And one last thing that I will say is that you know that you are onto some kind of truth, or at least starting to get into the realm of truth, when you have people that respond in a violent or dismissive way. You know, like, watch the comment section of this video, because guaranteed someone at some point who's not going to watch the video will say, "You're an idiot. If you think the Earth is flat, you're stupid." So that always happens. And again, when that happens, you know that you're onto some kind of truth, because you're challenging the normalcy bias. And, again, I'm not saying the Earth is flat or isn't. I'm just trying to be the messenger here. There are others that have looked at this topic far longer than I have, but I do want to promote the conversation that I had with Mark Sargent because it is interesting. It was a good conversation. He's a really nice guy. I think he brings up some great points. And if you get anything out of the episode, it is just this idea of questioning stuff. And if it causes you to walk outside and look up at the sky and look around and think, maybe we aren't on a giant ball spinning thousands of miles per hour, flying thousands and thousands of miles per hour through space, circling a sun that's circling a galaxy that's circling some type of universe. Maybe it's all sort of fixed. The universe itself isn't as big as we think it is. And, I will say, and I'm kind of rambling on here, but I will say that one of the questions I posed Mark, he didn't answer, which was, and this could be because I asked 2 questions in one question, but I asked about when they shoot lasers at 1 second increments out into space, there's this dilation that happens, and the time that is perceived between the lasers continues to spread. And, that's where the whole idea of the expanding universe comes from. And so, I wanted to know how that's even possible if we're in a dome. Is it that we hit the dome and there's some sort of weird, false digital information that's being relayed back, or what? So, just some more stuff to think about. Let me know your thoughts. What do you think? Earth flat, globe, or enclosed, or infinite flatness, like Math Borland says? Or are we all just losing our minds? Take care, guys. Check out Canary Cry Radio, episode 089, Flat Earth, with Mark Sargent. God bless.